This video is sponsored by Squarespace. Hello, I'm Mimi. I've been growing my Patreon community for over 3 years now, and it is my most reliable income stream as an artist. And reliability is key when you're a small creative business needing to put food on the table every month without losing sleep over where your next invoice is coming from. So I'm going to give you all of my tips for growing a successful membership community that you love, share some common mistakes that I see people making, and then finish off with some fun content ideas for what you could share on your Patreon. Lots of platforms actually offer monthly membership services now, so you don't have to grow yours on Patreon, but that's the platform I'll be talking about because it's one of the originals and where my paid community is based. I have an illustration to make today for my monthly illustration club that I host on Patreon, where I make a prompt and we all create some sketches and a final illustration for that prompt. So this is my job to do for the morning. Building a monthly membership community is really powerful because it gives you a reliable income each month rather than selling just one-off products. And although members come and go and might not stay each and every month of the year, I still find that it's a more stable income than most, and as an artist that gives me a lot of peace of mind. So what do you need to do to start earning an art income from Patreon? Well, first you need to build an audience of people who like what you do enough to follow you for free before you ask them to join a paid community. This can be on social media, through an email newsletter, a podcast, whatever you like. Then you need to set up your Patreon to offer something of deeper value than you're already providing, something that you can maintain every month and something that some of your free audience members would be willing to pay for. Then you need to create your Patreon benefits each month and hopefully grow your community over time into something sustainable and reliable. That's the simple version of events. If we start thinking about each of those, we start to run into a lot of questions, but the good news is I'm here to answer them. So number one, how do I build an audience? This is a big question, but the simple answer is to provide value to people. Value comes in lots of forms, but there needs to be a reason for people to follow you, and that could be as simple as you putting feel-good art out into the world that they like, or it could be that you're educating them on how to do something. If you can provide free value to your audience, then you'll be able to grow a community of people who like you and trust what you have to say. Then when you build your paid membership community, as long as the value you offer there is a deeper extension of what you provide for free and is something that same audience values, then you'll be able to convert some of those free followers into paid followers. I know that a lot of people struggle with growing on social media, but you can build a free community in a few different ways, like having a blog, an email newsletter, a YouTube channel, a podcast, and you can even have a free membership on Patreon now, so you can build a free audience there first and then offer paid memberships later. Number two, how do I know when I'm ready to launch my Patreon? Well, you either need quite a lot of people seeing your content or a small but really engaged community to convert people to paid memberships. The rule that I see floating around with creators on Patreon is that they have a 0.1% conversion rate from their social media audience to patrons, meaning that for every 1,000 people you have in your audience on social media, roughly one of those people will convert to a patron. This is of course a super general rule, but it's been pretty accurate for me that as my audience has grown, roughly 1 in 1,000 people convert over to being patrons. A big factor in that conversion rate is what benefits you offer on Patreon and how much value those benefits have to potential patrons. To know if you're ready and if your audience is ready for you to start a Patreon, you could always test it out by offering a really low paid tier first and see how many people sign up. And that will let you know how many of your fans are serious enough about wanting more content to pay a couple of dollars. If you have a decent conversion rate to a really low cost tier, then you have great data to suggest that higher value tiers would work as well. Number three, what benefits should I offer? To have a successful Patreon, you need to understand what your audience would be willing to pay for access to, which is usually something similar to the value you offer them for free, but on a deeper level. They might want to learn from you or see exclusive behind the scenes or have access to live streams. Think about what would be really valuable to your audience, and if you're not sure, you can always ask them for some ideas. Try writing down a list of all the things you think your audience would really like to access from you. I have a few suggestions at the end of this video if you'd like some ideas. Then go through that list and remove anything that you don't want to commit to making every month. From what you have left, you can choose some things to test out and offer them in either one tier or across a few tiers. Number 4, how should I price my tiers? It totally depends on the benefits you want to offer and how much value they have, and also if your audience is likely to be in a position to afford that. If they aren't, you can either adjust your audience or adjust what you're offering them. There are a few ways you can go about pricing your tiers. You could just start with one tier at a medium price point and see how you go, or you could offer a few tiers. A popular method, and the one that I use, is to have 3 tiers. One at a low price point of just a few dollars, one at a medium price point of between $5 and $15, and one at a slightly higher price point of around $15 to $25. If you do anything that is customized to each patron though, or requires one-on-one time like coaching, then you'll want to charge more for that time. It's tempting at this stage to commit to lots of tiers with loads of benefits to make sure that your Patreon has plenty of value, but be careful not to overcommit because you'll need to make these benefits every month, and it's amazing how quickly it adds up. And number 5, how long does it take to grow? Give it a few months to start seeing proper results, and if after a few months you haven't grown at all, then it might be worth adjusting how you reach your audience or what benefits you offer. You might not get many people joining straight away, and it probably won't be a massive sellout launch, but that's normal. I just had literally a few people join my first month on Patreon, and then a few more the month after that, and then a few more after that, so it was slow but steady growth. How long it will take to grow depends on what your goals are with Patreon. If you're looking to make a full-time income with it, then unless you already have a really large audience, then that'll probably take a couple of years for a lot of people. If you just want to have a healthy side income with it, then you could be there within 6 to 12 months. Something that helped me convert my audience to patrons was putting a page on my website that showcased all of the main benefits that people would get access to when they joined, because it's pretty hard to showcase that on Patreon itself. I've been using Squarespace to build my website since the very beginning of this art business, and they are the sponsor of today's video. Showcasing my Patreon benefits on my Squarespace site lets potential customers browse what they'll get access to before they commit to buying, which gives them confidence and trust in their purchase, so it helps me convert customers. And I can design it to look a lot nicer on Squarespace with their easy-to-use drag-and-drop website builder. They also have lots of nice templates to choose from that you can just update with your own style, so it's really intuitive and you don't need any fancy coding knowledge at all. You can host a blog directly on Squarespace, you can have an online store to sell physical products, digital content or your services as an artist, and you can even host an online course if you decide to take your creative business in that direction. They also have built-in SEO tools to help you show up more often to more people, which is important because we all know how difficult it is to be seen online. Check out squarespace.com for a free trial to see what your business or portfolio website could look like. And when you're ready to launch, go to www.squarespace.com/Mimimoo illustration to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Now, there are a few common mistakes that I see creators making when they start building their Patreon community. First, they overcommit. It's easy in the beginning to be excited about all of the amazing things that you want to offer your community and overcommit to what you're going to make, but remember that you need to create that content each and every month unless you're choosing a totally different model for your online community. Try to be realistic about how much time you can commit each month and only promise your audience things that you can comfortably produce, otherwise you'll burn out pretty quickly. Then they expect a huge launch. When you put lots of energy into setting up a new platform, you of course want lots of people signing up to it straight away when you're most excited about it, but unless you have a huge audience already, it's more likely that you'll have a slow and steady trickle of patrons rather than a huge influx. Don't be disheartened if this is the case, give it a bit of time and keep telling your audience about it, and if after a couple of months you're still not growing, then think about pivoting. And they expect people to stay forever. Just because it's a monthly membership platform, it doesn't mean that everyone who joins is a member for life. My patrons stay on average for about 3 months, but plenty stay just for 1 month and then leave forever. Some stay for years, and some come back every few months. There are lots of reasons why people leave. Patreon gives customers the option to give a reason for leaving, and usually it's not a problem with the content, it's because they got what they came for, or because they'll be back in a few months, or maybe they can't afford it right now. Remember that everyone has a different financial position, so although for some people paying you $5 a month for the benefits you offer is no big deal, for some people it's a big investment, so they might not be able to stay every month. So don't be alarmed when someone leaves, be excited that they chose to invest in your content for the time that they did. The final thing I want to share with you in this video is some ideas for Patreon benefits you could offer as an artist to get you started in case you aren't sure where to even begin. You could offer a daily or weekly drawing community for people who want to be more consistent with their art tutorials for people who want to learn the skills you have, physical products you make that you mail out every month, digital downloads of your art, access to a chat community where you can all connect and support each other, access to live streams of you creating art, one-on-one chatting or tutoring sessions, discounts to your products or stores, a weekly or monthly newsletter, exclusive access to your art projects and invite them to be involved in the process, vlogs or video tutorials, sketchbook tours, podcast episodes, and well, pretty much anything else you can think of. Let us know in the comments below if you have a Patreon community, and if you'd like to join my Patreon community or just see the tier structure that I offer, you can find the link to it in my description below. Thanks so much for watching this video. Give it a like and subscribe if you haven't already for more art business videos. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.